again, it's very easy. In case of other languages, for example Java, we have, I think, almost 7 different types of variables, and each one requires a kind of keywords to remember, keywords to define, right? For example, I want to save this number called 10. Okay, so this is actually whole number. Basically it's no integer, right? So integer in the sense which is not going to have anything like a dot after that, right? For example, 10.9. So this is not a whole number, or it's kind of like a, we call as a floating in the sense anything, a number which has kind of dots before or after that number, we call it as a float. But in other languages we need to define that with a keyword called float, or if it is an integer number, if you want to save that number integer value, so you have to use the keyword called int, then any name of the variable, right? So here it's not like that. It's simply, we can type it like a. So a equals to 10. So that backend or Java, Python is going to take care of what type of variable it is, whether it's an integer or a float or boolean or string. So it all is going to decide by the value itself. So that's why in Python we don't need to define specifically like integer or something like that. You just create a number, uh, uh, just a for example num1 is the variable name, and I will assign some numbers like this, right? And you can change that too. So there is no fixed something like, okay, once we assign, it will not going to change. No, it's not like that. That's a constant. So constant is different and variable is different. Variable, just a name, it's just a placeholder. To that placeholder you can assign any type of value. So right now I have assigned num1 as like 30, but I can define as 40. And when you type it or when you print it, so let's say print of num1, right? So when you say num1, and if you execute that specific file, so how to execute, again Python and file name. So you can see that the latest number it's going to display, it's not going to display 30. 30 is already defined and assigned to number 1. But when I defined one more when I assigned one more value, the latest value is going to display here. That's it. It's very simple. Just number, and assign to any variable, that's going to take care. If you want to assign or create another variable, and you assign something like 50.5, and that's going to accept it. So if you want to print it, it's simple. So you can just print it, and you can decide. Okay, you can see that. So it's a very straightforward. You can for the string type, for example, I want to create a variable which is going to hold only numbers, sorry, strings, right? So for example, there are number of names, and I want to save into a variable. So here I can define as name or anything, that's just a variable name. You can give anything, I given as name, and here in double quote or single quote, it's up to you. It's going to accept, and here is the name. So I can just type Raz, and I can print it out here, right? So yeah, so this is Copilot automatically coming up, and yeah, so you see that it comes as a Raz, and whatever the value of num1, num2, and num3, something like that. So straightforward. So there is no much need to be remembered, as you just go on typing, go on scripting or programming. That's you are going to remember it. There's nothing like rocket science to worry about it. But what is that important thing we can take it is, for example, so this is a uh, one variable like I create as like something phone number, right? Phone number, and I'll say just 9999 and something. Okay, this is just a best practice. What is a best practice is always create that variable name with a single keyword. Don't make it as like a phone hyphen number or phone space number. No, that's not accepted. Even phone hyphen number is fine, but it's not good practice. If you want to make it like a single keyword, that's a real one, and it's a meaningful also. Always give the variable name which is you know relevant, and if somebody see that, they should understand, they should able to see what exactly you are tried, because in real time what happens, there will be lot of coding, right? Lot of number of lines will be coming, and those number of lines, if someone is not able to understand, then it's going to be really really tough, right? So that's why you always try to give a name which is very unique, as well as uh, it should be understandable. For example, I want to store a variable or the value like it's a phone number, right? You just create as a phone number, and it's this is what we call as a like a camel. What is it? Something like a camel. So usually first character will be small, then the second character of the first character, first character of the second word will be and, capital. So it's not that we have to create like this only, but it's good, it's the best practice. If it's a phone number, make it like a phone number. If it's a first name, make it like a first name, and you give it first name, right? So in double quote, so make sure like you give it something like that. So that's it's a best practice. Every function, every methods are going to have in this way only. So create it, and for example, what I want to do is I want to print both of these, right? So print both of these in the sense, I want to say um, my name is here. I don't want to specify what is my name, but I want to specify the variable, right? So here I have created already variable. What you can do, you can just say space, then a comma, then just give a name for whatever the name here I have given, that will come. And I can also say that, and my phone number is something like this, right? So I have missed that comma, it's asking to put the comma. You can say, and here if you want, what it's going to happen is if I execute it, right? So it says my name is Raj. So Raj is coming from this variable, and then it says, and my phone number is so and so. So you can change this as like Mohan, and you execute. So now remaining text which is in double quote or single quote, that's going to remain same, but value of the first name is going to change, because here I have named I mean given the value as Mohan, and the phone number also can change. But yeah, just wanted to make sure that if you want to print any value, you can directly give that variable name. But if you want to club with something or text or multiple variables, it's a simple, you just use the double quote to display whatever you want, but the variable should be called in this fashion, like there should be like a comma, then you can call the variable, and if you want to continue again, there should be comma. So in some languages it will be like this, right? So there will be something like a plus icon. So plus icon was available for Java, but here it's not necessary to put that plus icon. Even if you put that, that works, but it's not actually needed. So if you look at this, it says my name is Mohan and my phone number is so and so. It's going to work even if you put plus, or if you don't put plus mark. Plus is some kind of like a concatenation. So I'll explain that what is that concatenation. But basically, either you can use a plus mark if you want to remember, or you can also use the comma. So it is one and same. Okay. So this is also comma. You can use it. That works fine. So like that, there are different variables. So right now for this training, I think integer, the whole number, or a float, or boolean, right? So for example, is present. Let's say there is something like boolean. So you can assign something like a true or false, right? So it's going to accept only true or false. It's just a value you can specify, and this is going to call as boolean. So just four types you can remember: one is integer, one is float, one is a string, another one is boolean. Okay. We don't have much to be discussed in case of variable, but yes, when it comes to string, we need to have some uh, good understanding, because there are a lot to understand about this uh, variable called string. We'll get to know that. So before that, I also wanted to make sure that if you execute this, okay, so you can see all the okay, there's some syntax error. So what is the syntax error is, I think I have missed some things. Okay, let's not use this. Right, so let me execute it. Okay, still we have so my name is Mohan, my phone number is so and so, and let's say I don't want to execute some of this code. So that's where we can comment it. So it's very simple. You can do this commenting, something like you can directly put this single icon. You can select that one line or two line or whatever line you want to comment it, and just if it is I think control slash, if you type it, then it's going to comment. So basically, what is this comment? Anything which is commented, this is not going to execute. For example, what I want to do is I want to comment this Mohan, and let me uncomment this other one. So if I execute it, what happens? You can see that there is a spelling. Okay, so since I have used this variable name, first name, but here I'm not enabled, in the sense I have commented, but here I use, so that's why it is getting error. But even if you remove that and execute it, so what happens, it's just going to execute this line instead of the one which is commented. So in real time, what happens, let's say there are hundreds of lines of code, but out of that a few lines I don't want to execute. So you simply command type this slash this symbol. Otherwise you can select all of them and you can just type it. So just remember, that's how we have option to comment in the Python, right? So in some cases, let's say there is something called message. So what I want to do is I want to write some programs here, but before any program I write, there should be some text to explain what is that method is doing, or what is that code is doing, because in real time we will not be able to remember everything, right? So that's why best practice is, before I write any big code or logic, I need to have a description in one or two lines. So how we can do, it's very simple. There are something like this. You can use this three double quotes, and inside that you can type anything like message, all those things, right? So after that message here, after that you can write a code again, something like print, all these, right? So that's how you can write messages here. It right for the string, just I'm giving like one or two lines, but in reality it will be having like a 5 to 6 lines of text. By reading that only we'll understand what is that it's doing. And this is a message is always good, because these tools, AI tools, right, they're also going to read them. Okay, for example, after creating so many lines of code or number of files, if you come here and if you ask to get a copilot saying that, hey, I want to understand this so and so function, what it's going to do is it's going to read this message and it's going to understand that flow. So This is very very useful. I mean, AI tool is almost like a humans, so they also go to read, and it's always better to have a meaningful message here, which explain the way, what is it method or function is going to do it, and also it's always better to give meaningful variable names instead of giving that A B C something like that, right? So it's not a good practice. Alright. So yeah, that's a simple uh, topic about variables. But yeah, what I want to do more is I want to explain more about string variables. That's one of the things, right? So what I'll do, I'll simply type like message. I'll give a name as message, and let's say uh, something some I'll type it. Okay, hello John. John Doe. What are just a your name, and he is a wonderful person. Okay. So this is one message I have created. So now if I go and just print a message, what happens? It's going to print it back as hello John, and he is a wonderful person. But here, what I want to make sure is you can play with this string variable. It's not applicable for other variables, but especially for string, you can play around. What is it to play around? What is it I want to make sure is if you use this message, entire line is getting displayed out here, right? But if you say something like message of 0, okay, so just a 0 I'm talking about, right? It's not 0, 0.0, so just 0. So what is it going to happen? So let's say execute. You see this, okay? If I type message of 0, it's going to take the value first, like h out of that. If you say 5 and execute it, so it's going to display, I think fifth place is a space, right? 1 2 3 4 5. No, it's going to start with 0 1 2 0 1 2 3 4 5. Fifth place is empty, that's why it is not giving anything. But what all I'm trying to say here is, if you use the message and some numbers, that number is going to display only the text of that the position, fifth position character or sixth position character. What character it is there, it's going to display. For example, if I say message of 5 or 6, then it's going to display J, right? So you can see that J. So like that, there is another thing is negative value. For example, if I type as a 0, what we were getting H. Let me say this value is 1, okay, and what is that character it's going to give? It's going to give as E, because it is starting from here. But if you type -1, okay, then if you print it, so it's going to display N, means this one. So if it is a positive, it comes from left side. If it is a negative, it comes from the last portion, like from right side. And again, in reality, we may not use this like a -1 or something like that, but in somewhere, if you want to display only a particular section of the string, or some kind of like a first character, first letter, or something last letter, then you're going to use this methods. But it's just to better to understand what kind of things we use with a string. So it's numbers. You just put a number, then it's going to display that. This is another way. There is something called
Raj, sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Uh, can you please increase the font size?
Okay, font size, let me see.
Is it possible? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's a small, but yeah, let me increase the font size. Where is that? In section view, I think. Let me. Okay, so let's ask our guy. So how to increase font size is searching it. Let's see. What is he doing? He's doing refine question to improve search. Okay, searching command settings and log. Okay, that here. Okay. Let's go here. Increase that. Is it increasing?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it increased. Okay.
Yeah, it increased in the console.
Okay, yeah, it increased in the console. That's good. Okay, that's it. And how do I come out of this? Please in there's okay, that done. Let me. Cool. It got increased, but how do I go? Is there any way? Please. Okay.
Okay, I need to back up.
Okay. Yes. So that's others. That's fine. Okay. Cool. So
Yeah. You-
I think now it's clear.
Yeah, thank you.
No, so, okay, something had changed. I think I was talking about this. Yeah. So there is another way we can use for this message is you can also use like something like semicolon. So what it indicates is where this whatever it is there at the left side, it says from where the reading has to start and how long, how lengthy it should take. For example, it's I said 6 means I'm instructing, okay, start from sixth position. For example, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 is going to be here, the including the space, and John is the one which is going to start. And how long or how lengthy it should be? 10. From here, it's going to be like a 10. Means uh, basically it's going to count from here itself again, starting. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 is going to end here at the end. So you can see that only John is going to display if you type it, right? So if I print it, it's just going to display John. But if I say to something like, okay, let me make it like 18, so immediately it's going to be the text is going to be displayed different, right? So it's going to take John and he. I think there is something like here. So this position 18th is the day. So it's going to start from 6th and at the 18th, and whatever the text between those numbers, it's going to display, right? So you can use one number or you can use a semicolon. That's also fine. And there is something called 0. So as I mentioned, it's going to start from here, and whatever the 18 characters, that 18 characters are going to display if I type it something like this. So it start from hello John and he. Okay. So yeah, that's just a simple way to display. But along with that, with this string, we also have wonderful methods. So methods which are already defined by Python creator itself, and you can use it, and that's going to be really useful. What is that we can use it is, if you use that variable name, I have defined variable as message, and here I say message dot. When you type message dot, all the methods which are inbuilt, which are already created by Python, they are going to display. Okay, so there are very good number of methods which we are going to use it in real time as well. For example, Let's say I want to display this message in like all lowercase. So there is something called um, is lower, right? So there is something called is upper, is lower. Let me use is lower first. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to no, is lower is another method which is going to give as whether it's true or false, right? So if this is all lower, then it's going to be like a true. If it is all capital, then it's going to be like false. So is always question mark. Question is nothing but like whether yes or no, something like that, right? So is lower, yes or no, it's going to display true or false. There's a something called the method is upper. That's also simple. That's going to verify whether the text is upper or lower. But if you want to do some um, changes, so this is the method I was talking about. There's a method called upper. So what it is going to do is it's going to convert entire this line into uppercase. So if I type it, display it here, you can see that method, what it does is it's going to convert the string whatever given, that will be converted into all capital letters or uppercase, right? So because the method what I used is upper, so like that we have something called a lower. So what it does is basically, if I print it, you can see even though my string has some uppercase, H is uppercase, J is uppercase, but everything is going to display in lowercase this way. Okay. So it's a simple, but somewhere it's going to be useful in real time. That's one of the few methods, but you just remember what I suggested is once you uh, start practicing, just use all these methods just for practice and just for curiosity. What is upper is doing? What is upper is doing? What is lower? What is there is something called a title. There's a is title something, right? So let me say title. So what is this title is going to do? So it's just out of curiosity. You can see that it's going to display all these words. First character will be in capital. So you see that here hello is the capital, J is capital, but and is not a capital, right? A is not a capital. So you can see that that's also coming as capital, and H is also coming as a capital. Right, so these are all method. There is something more interesting is there's a one more message or method called strip. So I think there is strip. I forget what is that strip is all about, but let's try that. So there's something called strip. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a one keyword. But there is another method called split. So that's important. Something, if you go for split, what the split is going to do is it's going to split this entire message into multiple pieces. So that's why split is all about. So one method which if you use it along with a variable, then it's going to split it. So let's see what is that it's going to do. It's splitting. You see this, what it does is all the words whatever we have in that string, and here you use a split, it split each one. So it has become hello has become one word, John has become another word, and has become another word. So you can see that, right? Every uh, all the sentence, whatever the words are there, those words are being split, and that has become like a kind of a group of words like array. I mean, we discuss about that array and all these things, but as of now, just remember, if you use that split, it's going to split your message into multiple pieces. And eh, I don't want to split multiple pieces, but I want to split by some numbers, right? So you can also do something like this. If you specify number, right, what happens, you can see that only the third no, word it has split. So means it has become two parts. One is whatever the third word like just 0, 1, 2, and this is 3. He is a third place, right? So this is going to display it, and remaining all going to be nullified. So it's a simple method, but the way you use, that's going to be differ, right? So no, I don't want to use this number. Instead of that, I want to use some kind of words. So you can also split by words, right? For example, inside this I'll say and, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to split entire this line by and, in the sense, whatever it comes, whatever it is there before and what is after and. So those are two parts it's going to make it. So you can see that hello John means that's a text before and. After and is he is wonderful person, right? So you can see that he is wonderful person. So and is not there inside that, but yeah, is somebody joined? Okay, no. Right. So you can use that a split by word or without word, or even bracket and some keywords. So that's also going to be useful, right? So that's the one method I wanted to explain. And there is something this is going to be useful, just to remember how it works. And as I mentioned, there are so many, but I don't want to cover everything. That's going to be very lengthy. But just one more, I think couple more I can cover is the replace. So this is also one of the important method, inbuilt method. So replace. What is this replace is going to do? It's going to replace keywords. For example, I say replace. Uh, let's say he. Okay, John. I don't want John. I want to replace by someone, right? So replace by what? By say something like Mohan. Okay. What I'm saying, this is a message. It has some string. Inside that string there is a John. Okay. Take that and replace by Mohan. So if you do that, see here, hello Mohan, and he is wonderful person. So in place of John, the Mohan is coming. So we are instructing this method to replace something which is there. You find it first and replace by something whatever I'm giving. Right. So quite interesting. Yeah, like that you can keep playing all about just it's a practicing, right? So you can come up with your own methods tomorrow when you practice, and try to find or use find. What is it find, what is it index, and if you don't understand you can also ask here. You can directly message it. I think what is this, okay, let me, I think it. I think I forgot that. Hmm. Yeah. It is mine. AI code or GitHub Copilot got logged out, it seems, but that's fine. I'll log it later. But what I was saying is, if you don't understand anything, what is it a split is doing, what is find is doing, also you can just ask this guy what is find in Python. It's going to give examples, everything here. Okay. So that's just brief overview about variables. How do we declare? And again, it's not too much of tough. It's a simple plain English. So any questions about the variables? Cool. So if no questions, I think we have 20 more minutes. I think I can cover some of the other topics. Especially, this is a very interesting. After variable, there are few more topics about what do you call operators, right? So in Java or in Python or in any other languages, we use some operators. What is it operator and why it is required, right? Just I have one example here. I will just to show that, just to remember what is it operator in the sense. If you look at this image, we have a bolt here, we have a nut here. To fix these two or to tight it, right? So we should need some tool or some, because we can tight these to some extent but not too much tight. To do that we need a kind of spanner, right? So this is a tool which is going to helpful or which is going to operate on this to add this, right? So anything which helps to do some activities, that's what we call as a like a operator. So earlier we used to have a, like a phone operator, right? So phone operator in the sense, there is to be like a phone booth, there is to be a person, and if someone want to call to some person, then we can tell a call it, and he is the person who used to do. So that person is being called as operator, means he's going to operate something, he's going to operate a mobile or phone. So that's a operator, like that. In real time we can find n number of examples about the operators. So the same way in programming languages also we have some kind of operators. So what types of operators we have? There are, especially in Python, we have total 7 different types of operators. What are the 7 different operators? We have something called arithmetic operators, something like comparison operators, assignment operators, logical operators, bitwise operator, membership operators, identity operators, right? You might be thinking, what is this operators all about and where exactly we are going to use it in programming? In most of the cases we are going to use it in many places, and every day once you start coding, these operators are going to be useful. As variables also useful, because that's where we start coding to write the even single line. Also we use that variable, decide, declare the variable, assign the variable value and use it, something like that. Similarly, these operators also going to be play very important role while doing coding. It might be coding directly as a developer or coding as a tester, doesn't matter as long as you use coding. So these operators are going to be coming in the picture. What is it arithmetic operator, right? So I think that's a very simple again. What is it arithmetic? Arithmetic is nothing but the mathematics. We all know what mathematics, and we have already learnt about this, like adding, subtracting. I want to add two numbers, I want to subtract two numbers, I want to divide two numbers, or I want to do multiplications, right? To do that we have some kind of symbols, right? Symbols or signs, you can say that. So this is the one we call as a like a plus mark, is the another one arithmetic operator. This is just operators. So these are the operators what I have given. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus. But in Python we have also few extra things, that is floor division and exponential, right? Floor division and exponential. So in other languages I have not seen, but in Python these are the extra, floor division and exponential. We will understand what is it floor division and exponential, so little bit deeper way. But other than those, it's simple. So you can use that operator to do some activities like subtracting or multiplication. For example, what I do here is I'll just create a num1 and I will give it as a 10, and num2, num3. Okay, it's automatically giving everything, and I want to add. So print, I'll say num1, num2, num3, num4, all these things, right? So and I'll print it. Let's say print. So the addition of all those numbers, the total number and its addition is going to be like 150. You can count it. It's simple. Here what I'm doing, I'm using arithmetic operator, that is AND, right? So like that you can also use multiplications. Multiplications basically you can use that star symbol. You can use either one number one, number two, or you can also use number three or anything. It just since AI given like that, I'm using it, but it's up to you. But arithmetic operators, second operator is multiplications. You can use multiplication this way. So this is a one number, this is second number, and between that, if you use that multiplications, and that's going to calculate. For example, num one is 10, num two is 20, so 10 into 20, 200. So 200 is going to display. But here, let me just delete it. Right, so you can see that 200 is coming because it's multiplication, above one is addition. So it's quite simple like that. We can have division, right? Division is going to divide. That's what we have already seen in our mathematics. And also we have subtract. So subtract is going to give the value, which is going to like 10 minus 20, and the result will be 20, minus 10, right? These are quite simple. You don't need to remember anything. Just declare two variables and play around that. But there is a something called let's say division. So first we'll talk about division, then we'll go for floor division. So what is it I'm trying to do here? Let's say I have num1, num2. Num1 is 10, num2 is, let's say, 2. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll say num1 slash or num1 division num2, number 1 division by number 2. So what is the result? This result will be 5. But here, look at this number. Here 10 is also integer, 5 is 2 is also integer. But when I do that division 10 by 2, it's coming as 5.0. So it's coming as a float. Even though I have two numbers as integer, but when I do a division, it's going to come as a float. So in Python, division is going to work in that way. Okay, but you can you might be thinking, no, I don't want to get the result as a float value, but instead of that I want to get that value as a integer. If I do integer division, I should get integer, right? How do I do it? It's a simple. You use this floor division, means double slash is going to differentiate. So you can see that now result is 5. 10 by 2, 5. If you don't use that floor division, then everything is going to be in this float value. But again, there are some conditions. What is that condition? If both are integer, then if you use floor division, the result will be integer. But any one of this is float, when any number of out of these two, if one number is float or two numbers are float, then the result will be float. For example, what I'll do, I'll say num1 as 10, num2 as 2.0. Okay, let's see what is the result. You can see that 5.0, right? Since out of these two numbers, one is float, that's why it is coming. Even it may not be like this, you can also go for this one, right? So here if you execute it, still I'll be getting 5.0. The condition is very simple. Either both should be integer, the result will be integer. If either of one is float, then the result will be completely float, right? So what if let's say this is float, let me not take float, I'll make it first. What I'll do, number 1 is 10, number 2 is 3, and when you divide, definitely it will be like 3.333, because it's going to be like a float, right? So let's see what is that it's going to display here. Yeah, this is a actual one. So 10 by 3, 3 dot, and it keeps on going, and at the end it's going to make it to 1, and this is how it displays, right? But what happens if I use floor division? Okay, you remember that floor in the sense, it's if you consider a room, it has a floor, it has a roof, right? So roof is a upper part, floor is a lower part. So the same concept here applied. So when it a double slash, that's going to consider like a floor division. Floor in the sense, it's going to take always the lowest part, right? It's not going to take highest part, it's always going to take a lowest part, almost like a point, whatever point we have, right? It's, this is a point, if you consider the center point, something which is at the left side, that's going to consider in case of floor division. What it means, so without a floor, it was giving result as 3.3333, right? Now I change it to floor division. Let's see what is that is going to consider. So you see that the lowest part, so 3.3 is always bigger than 3, right? So 3 is a smaller one, so it's going to take the smaller value when it compares to the division. So floor division is always going to take it a smaller one. So if I use this minus, okay, what happens, the completely result is going to be different. So you can see that -4. You might be wondering why when I use a 10 slash 3, it's giving 3. We got to know that that's, you know, floor means the lowest value it's going to take it. But in case of minus, if you apply, there also the same logic, it's going to take lowest number. In the sense, what is it, the lowest number? If you consider 0 as middle, all the numbers which comes as a negative, -3, -4 is lesser than -3, -4 is lesser than -2, right? Because it's a smaller one, and that's a small part is going to take care, right? So you may not, in real time, you may not get this, whether it's division, something like this, or you may get some useful no situation where you want to divide something like that. So just remember, this is a, double quote is a floor division, and a single quote is always, single slash is always going to divide the numbers, but the result will be in terms of float, right? So that's I wanted to clear. But here the plus mark is going to add two numbers, that's a simple way, but there are other things also need to be considered. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll say name John. Okay, so this is another variable I create. What I do here, instead of doing with a multiplication or something with the numbers only, what I'll say, print, and I'll say something like this. So instead of number one, I'll say number one plus and name, right? So let me say name here, and let's print out, right? So when I try to print, it is giving some error, right? Even though plus is arithmetic operator, it's supposed to add two numbers, but here what I'm doing is num1 is a integer, but name is a string. It says that, hey, you cannot use this plus mark like anything you want. No, that's not acceptable. What you can do is, you can use this plus mark to add the numbers, but not the string. But there is another thing. What I'll do is, I'll say this one as let's define something like last name. Okay, last name, okay. So here what I'll do, I'll just say num plus last name. Now let me try to print. right? So here you can see that those two values which are there in the string, that is clubbed, but in case of num plus string, it was giving error. So it means that if you want to use this plus mark, it's going to act as a two things. One, it can act as a addition operator, like two adding two numbers, but also it will act as a concatenation. In the sense, if you use variables, string variables, then it acts as a concatenation. In the sense, it's going to club those two strings. But if you use this operator in between the numbers, then it's going to work as a addition. Okay, so it's just a different way. It works in a different places or different variables what you are using. So something like that, you can also use multiplications. For example, what I say is name into 3, right? So let's say what is going to happen here. It says that, hey, I don't understand what is this name and x, and so I'm not supposed to use that x, but if I use star, okay, let's say what happens. Okay, you see that even though this is a number, this is a string, in case of plus operator, I was getting error, something like this. But in case of multiplication, it will not worry about that. It will say, okay, I'm okay with the string, or I'm okay with the numbers, but what it's going to do is it's going to multiply this number into 3. In a sense, 3 times it's going to display. If it is a number, then it's going to be different. For example, I say 3 into 3. 3 into 3 is 9. The result is going to come. But if you use you know some string along with that multiplications, it's going to multiply 3 times or whatever the numbers you give it. Okay, so if you say 5, and if I make it something space here, then it's going to display 5 times Mohan, 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 Mohan here, right? So even though it's arithmetic operators like a plus and this multiplications, it's going to work differently when it comes to string. So just to know, remember that what works best, what works, what is not going to work. So that we need to understand. Okay, we have 3 minutes, but what I want to do in 3 minutes is there is a exponential operator. What is it, exponential? So how do we do it? So here let me say 3 into 3 or 3 star 3, right? So what is the value? This is obviously 9. But if I use exponential or power, that's also called power or exponential. What is it, power or exponential? It's a double stars. So it's like a 3 into, it's a 3 square. It's not a 3 square, I think it's a, if I say this one 3 double stars 2, then it's a square. So if I type it, it's going to be like a 3 square, it's going to be 9. If I make it 3 into 3, it's going to be 27. Means it's a 3 times I think what we call I don't remember, 2 square, 3 square, and next one is what is that, something, oh, it's going to be like multiple times. So it's not same 3 into 4, it's going to be 12, but 3 into 3 double into and 4, then it's going to multiply by 4 times. So that's why the result will be 18. Cool. So operator, it's very simple but very effective. We are going to use those arithmetic operators. Total 7 are there, plus, minus, division, and addition. Then comes exponential multiplication and floor division. Okay. That's about variables and operators. Tomorrow we'll see, I think tomorrow is Wednesday, right? So I think we have some things to do, but we can, if you want, we can speak skip that, and directly we can go on Thursday, and by that time you will have some time to practice all the things what we discussed today. So that's also fine. We can meet on Thursday. But just
Sure.
before that, any questions about the variables what we discussed and the operators till now what we discussed?
Just I have one question, Raj.
Mm-hmm.
Like variables, will you going to explain while writing in further classes about like what is like instance, class, and global variables as such?
Right. So here it's going to be a little different, but concept wise, yeah. What is global variables? What is local variables? Whether you declare inside the method, that's going to consider as the local variables. Once you declare outside the variable, outside the method, that's going to consider as a global variables. And how do we access? Yeah, concept wise it's same. Little bit syntax wise, slight changes. Yes. Once we
Okay,
start writing the functions, we'll discuss that.
sure. Thank you.
Cool. Super. Where is that screen? Where is that screen over there? I'm sharing. Basu, if you are there, any questions, any doubts? And Krishna, so any questions? If you are there, cool. If no questions, let us wind up the class, and we'll meet on Thursday at same time.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Thank you, Raj.
Yeah. Thanks. Take care.
Yeah, you too.